Professor Suzuki wrote his translation in a rather archaic style of English, reminiscent, I suppose, of the King James version of the Bible. I guess this gives it a sense of authority. I'm tempted to paraphrase it into modern English, but I think I'd probably better just stick with the text as it's written. So now we come to the content of the Sagatakam, the verse summary of the Lankavatara Sutra. And in fact, the first 9 verses are actually taken from the text directly. And I'll put the text in the information section below the video. The text will also be available in the video index, which is on a separate website. At that time, Mahamati the Bodhisattva-Mahasattva said this to the Blessed One: As thou reviewest the world with thy transcendental knowledge and compassion, it is to thee like an ethereal flower, of which one cannot say whether it is born or destroyed, as a category of being and non-being is inapplicable to it. So, Mahamati is talking to the Buddha, and he's saying to the Buddha, as thou reviewest the world, as you look at the world, the Buddha is centered in clear awareness, and he looks at the world, the same world that we look at, but he relates to it in a completely different way. And this is what we're being asked to do. Examine how we relate to the world. We normally relate to the world through our own psychology. We relate to the world through our predominant mood. Underneath that mood there might be a particular outlook which is relatively consistent. The world, for example, might be a rather harsh place where it's a struggle to get by. It might seem cold emotionally. A place where it might be possible to find a soulmate. Or something which somewhere hides the secret to happiness. We've got some relationship with the world, basically. And it's this relationship which is guiding us to listen to this video, perhaps, because we might not be satisfied with our relationship with the world. We're on this planet for a certain amount of time. Perhaps we've got a large number of years, perhaps not many years. Are we really making the most of it? Are we really making the most of our life? It's quite a unique event, being alive. Have we really got the best angle on it? So this is what we have to consider. We probably regard the world through a particular mentality, or through a particular mood. But how the Buddha regards the world is not through a particular mentality or a particular mood. It's with transcendental knowledge and compassion. This is wisdom. This is wisdom and compassion. These are the 2 attributes commonly ascribed to the Buddha, wisdom and compassion. Now, I've spoken about wisdom already. I spoke about it in the first video. It's about being in touch with a reality beyond our moods and beyond our mindsets, beyond our psychology. Now, what about this compassion? A lot of Buddhists these days feel a need to be engaging in charitable works and concerns about the planet and so on. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. The more people doing good deeds and good works, the better. But you can sometimes get a sense that they're trying to make up for what is perceived as an absence in traditional Buddhism. There's a certain modern sentiment with respect to compassion. It's such a lovely word, isn't it? Compassion. And it can prompt us to a certain sentimentality, which is quite absent in Buddhism. In fact, Buddhism as a cultural phenomenon tends not to exhibit much compassion. The societies where Buddhism took root tend to be rather brutal in nature. So what's meant by compassion? Compassion is the opposite of self-interest. Compassion means acting in the world with no self-interest. And very often what passes for compassion is just self-interest in disguise. We want the world to be safe and green. But that's for ourselves. That's for our own self-interest. We want to help others because if we were down in our luck, we'd expect to be treated ourselves that way. So you behave towards others as you'd expect others to behave towards you. That's not compassion. That's a certain degree of self-interest. Again, there's nothing wrong with that in its own level. But let's look deeper into the meaning of compassion. Acting without self-interest. Compassion is about giving the opportunity for all of us to be living our life at the optimum level. What greater compassion can there be than that? Giving everybody the opportunity to get the best possible angle on their life. And really, the Buddha's compassion begins and ends with that. No doubt there were lots of good things the Buddha did, which might be regarded as compassionate in the traditional sense. And if that does something for you, that's fine. But I just want to guard against projecting a modern understanding of compassion onto the Buddha, which wasn't really there. So that's wisdom and compassion. And I think I'll leave examining the rest of this verse till the next video.